Okay, confession time. I just finished back-to-school shopping. Nothing like the last minute, huh? Kohl's to the rescue. I got 25% off a JanSport backpack for my son, $17.99 sew jeans for my daughter, and 50% off Levi's for both kids. Levi's, can you believe it? I even got $10 off because I spent $25 and picked up Kohl's Cash. So, yeah, sometimes procrastination pays off. Select styles. 10 off 25 offer ends September 6th. Levi's coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
10, 9, 8. Ignition sequence has started. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
You have entered Untold Radio AM. And now broadcasting from a secret location, your hosts, Joel Sturgis and Doug Hajicek. And welcome to this edition of Untold Radio AM. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis. Right along with me is always Mr. Doug Hajicek. How you doing, Doug?
Good. It is always, too, isn't it? I'm always here.
You're always here, just in the nick of time.
I need a day off.
You need a day off. Really?
Yeah.
You need a day off. Really? Oh my gosh. Oh
so
my
next
good Lord.
Wednesday. Next Wednesday we
Well,
should
next Wednesday we will be taking a day off because I will be traveling to Duluth.
Oh yeah, that's right. We have the
I'll be
period.
getting ready to travel to Duluth because I have to pack up the studio and take it all over to Duluth, Minnesota. In case you guys haven't heard, there's a little event going on in Duluth next weekend that you might want to be a part of. That's the Para-Unity convention that's happening at the Deck, Duluth Entertainment and Convention Center. It begins, of course, let's see, you got Friday, Saturday. Got all sorts of good stuff going on. I got VIP dinner coming up. That is actually sold out, by the way. The VIP dinner has been sold out.
Yep.
These tickets are flying, man. They are flying. So if you want to be a part of this thing and not be turned away at the door, you better order those tickets now. mnparacon.com is where you do that. I'll be there. Doug will be there.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of great things will be there. A lot of great people will be there. The best of the best will be there. You're going to have everybody from Adam Berry to Lauren Coleman will be there. Chris Fleming. You're going to have Steve Gonzalez. Chuck Zukowski will be there. I don't know if you and Chuck have ever met face-to-face, Doug.
Not face-to-face. I'm looking forward to hanging out.
That will be nice. That'll be nice. And
I
lots
love
and lots of other people. So you're going to want to check that out. Again, mnparacon.com is where you get your tickets. So that's going to be exciting. I'll be there, yours truly. I'll be like the first booth you see when you walk through those doors.
How do you know if I get there earlier than
Oh,
you?
no. See, now there's a floor. There's already a floor plan in place.
We don't have to abide by the floor.
Oh, well, I intend to because I have a great first seat right in front. And I'll be jamming out to music, having some fun, doing some interviews.
I'll steal your spot.
I'll be running around with a wireless microphone. I might just talk to you. You just don't know. I'll show up. I'll just interview everyone there. Be a lot of fun as well.
Well, I talked to a friend of mine who just bought a new yacht, and he offered to take some people that I know, some VIPs, like maybe you, Joel.
Oh.
For a nice evening cruise after the convention.
That would be a lot of fun. I would be interested in doing something like that.
Yep.
Lake Superior is a wonderful lake, by the way. If you guys have never seen Lake Superior, it is truly something to behold, by the way.
It's beautiful up there. It's actually, to me, I mean, I've traveled all over the world, and I literally I was hard-pressed to find anything that actually beats, the North Shore.
Yeah.
Really, it's tough.
I don't know about you, but when you go up, there's almost like a magical feeling there. being in that area. It's very energized.
Yeah, the air is like, oh my God, amazing off that lake.
Yeah.
It's so clean because really from Lake Superior north, all the way to the North Pole, it's forest.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
There really is nothing.
And I checked it out. Everyone else is going to be scorching, of course, but Duluth is going to have that nice east wind off the lake. So we will be having a little air conditioning going on there, a little natural air conditioning.
It's the air-conditioned city.
Yep. So when you're in Duluth, you're really good. It's one of those cities you either got to bring a jacket because you just don't know, and a pair of shorts because you just don't know.
Yep.
But we're gonna be right there on the water because the deck is right there. You can do the Irving. There's a ship there. They can do tours on if you want to do it. Anyhow, there's just tons. Just go over to the
Well, they have the Great Lakes Aquarium, the boardwalk. They have big ships coming in. Lighthouses, amazing lift bridge. It's just gorgeous. I mean,
it's a great
the
city.
lake walk. The lake walk is amazing. In fact, it's so amazing. I'm going to go up there Friday just to take a long 60-mile bike ride.
And you deserve that, Doug.
I need a day out.
You need to decompress.
I'm in the bunker too long.
Just too long. Just too long in the bunker. You just need time to decompress. I, however, will be working right up until the 11th hour.
Good.
And that's good for me. I understand. You're like, so? And what is your point?
I don't know.
I never stop working for you people is what I'm saying. Never.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Oh, by the way, the Mystery Machine will be there.
Yeah.
The original Mystery Machine. I'm looking
How do
forward
we
to seeing
know
that
it's
van.
the original?
Well, that's what it says. The Mystery Machine original is what it says.
Okay.
So
I just wonder if it comes with a Scooby-Doo certificate or...
Yeah, it just might. You just never know. You just never know. So anyhow, you're not going to want to miss any of that. That's happening again in Duluth not this weekend, but the following weekend. This weekend, on Friday, I'll be doing some WGW wrestling announcing. I'll be your ring announcer for that event, for the WGW wrestling. So come on down if you want to see some high-flying action and maybe even meet me and talk to me a little bit because I'll be your ring announcer for the night. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be a lot of fun.
Cool. So, you want to talk?
One more thing.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
One more thing. Did you see, because we've talked about Ely on this show quite a bit.
Yeah.
Did you see that they made the Smithsonian Magazine?
No.
It is one of the top 15 small cities in the United States to visit.
Oh, cool.
And it earned it. Let me tell you, Ely. I mean, if you love Duluth, you're really gonna love Ely too, because they're both great cities in their own way. Very, very interesting. Very cool to be in.
The end of the road where there are so many eclectic, amazing, eccentric, tough people, smart, brilliant people that live up there. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy up there. It's wonderful, crazy.
Where else can you go and meet a guy who? What do you do? Oh, I shave with an axe. I invent sharpening tools, and you meet the next guy, and, what do you do? I'm a nuclear physicist, and you meet, it's just everybody's high test, no matter what they do.
Yeah, well, it's one of those cities that you can just get away from everything, and everyone becomes equal there.
Yeah.
The forest is the great equalizer when you're there.
Yep.
And so really that's what a lot of people look for, is that feeling of getting away from all that stuff.
And I guess there's a number of celebrities that are moving to Ely because it's kind of the Aspen, crowd is kind of driving some people crazy, and they're moving to Ely.
I believe that. Yeah, I've heard that as well. There's already several celebrities up there that have places. So
yeah,
it is becoming, like you said, the Aspen of the Midwest. So that'll be cool. But big props to Ely. You guys have worked hard to make that city what it is, and I love going up there. Okay, moving on, Doug. What did you have?
I want to talk about viruses.
Viruses?
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, we're all talking. We're all dealing with viruses. COVID virus.
Yeah.
But so I really started digging into viruses. I mean, really, like trying to figure out how they change us. Because really, if it wasn't for viruses, man would have never evolved to be as smart. There's so many evolutionary changes that they cause. And I was thinking, I wonder if COVID will cause some type of a major change to humanity. For instance, it could cause us to increase our intelligence. It could cause our ears to get bigger. I mean, we don't know because the virus has got its own reason for living. I mean, it's viruses really aren't there just to survive. They're really there as almost like an alien nanoparticle to help animals adapt. And so, so the University of Rochester just came up with this really cool study. They studied the pea aphid. Do you know what the pea aphid is?
No, what is the pea aphid?
Well, it's a little green. They call it a pea aphid because it looks like a little pea, but it's a harmless little. It lives on sap, on plants.
Okay,
It's just very harmless. But every once in a while, they need to move, like they need to recolonize, like a new forest.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, for some odd reason, could be every 20 years, they'll sprout wings, and they'll just take off.
And just fly away into new areas.
But they don't know. They didn't know why until now. Apparently, they're living with a virus, and the virus actually, when they get stressed out, or they're starving or under stress, the virus starts multiplying and puts in a code into their DNA to cause them to sprout wings, which is like, wow. Because
that
really, a virus is just an inert it's a nanoparticle with DNA information in it.
Yeah.
And it's also basically a blank DNA too, so it can replicate, it can, basically mimic your own body. Okay. But we don't know what long-term effects like COVID will have on us. There may be good. There could be a good outcome. But it was just so interesting to read more and more about viruses and think about, how they're affecting certain insects, animals, us. Everything is affected by viruses. And for instance, wasp, right? Just a regular wasp. Yeah. Some of them become almost, what's the word? They can live almost indefinitely.
And why is that? I mean, I've heard that before, but I've never heard the reason behind why.
Same thing, a virus that they live with. The virus is in your body, just like COVID. You get those spike proteins in your body. They're not going away. Yeah. They're going to stay there. They're going to affect your DNA no matter what. Which is why people are so paranoid about, the vaccine and, because, well, once you get COVID, your DNA is getting changed permanently.
Yeah.
And so this virus, really, it's got two goals. One, it wants to survive and continue to infect other animals. But by making the wasp live longer, it allows itself to live longer.
Gotcha. If the host is thriving, it's thriving.
Right. And we may end up solving our human longevity through viruses. It may be a shot we get of some, obviously engineered virus, or it could be a natural virus. There's also a big debate as whether viruses come from outer space. They come in on meteorites.
I think that some do. I mean, there's some proof out there.
Yeah, there is.
That would suggest that.
It's disputed proof. But there is proof that bacteria and viruses come in from God knows where, somewhere else, either in our solar system or some other solar system.
But remember in the 90s when they found the meteor in, I think it was the Arctic? and was
Yes,
Clinton
that
was
was yes.
president.
Yep, I'm very
And
familiar
I
with.
forget the call letters of that because they give this long call letters. But for the first time in this meteor, they observed bacteria.
Yes, fossilized bacteria.
Fossilized, but proving that there is life out in the
But the
cosmos.
problem is, there's still half the scientists are going, nope, it's not bacteria. Just coincidental that they look like bacteria. So there's still a lot of debate on that meteorite.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've looked at it, and to me, absolutely, there's no way it has to be bacteria.
I mean, just think of it this way, though. How arrogant would it be of us to think we're the only things in this universe? I mean, this is the only Earth. This is the only planet. Because what's the point of a barren universe? There is none.
But think of viruses as little books that are falling. I mean, for all we know, we're getting bombarded with 100,000 different viruses, different ones, every day or a year or whatever. We don't know how many survive, how many infect an animal. And if they infect some animal, we're not going to know about it. Infect a bug, a certain type of bug. Yeah. How are we ever going to know? And it really made me realize, looking into viruses more and how utter ignorant I felt. You can just feel the ignorance of the whole world about viruses. We don't know much. Obviously, we know how to manipulate them. That's scary to me.
Yeah, we know how to weaponize them. Look at anthrax.
Weaponize them, change them. That's really scary. I mean, it really is. It's crazy.
But
and obviously
we can't kill them.
Not really. No, they're not alive.
No. So, I mean, antibiotics will do you no good against viruses. Because I remember when COVID was out and some of the people I was talking to said, well, antibiotics will take care of it. That's a misnomer. No, antibiotics is for bacteria, not viruses.
Right.
It does nothing.
In fact, you can make the virus worse or make it replicate more if you start taking antibiotics because you may be killing off the bacteria that's fighting the virus.
Exactly, and you're also killing your own immune system a lot of times with antibiotics as well.
But viruses are real interesting. They're so tiny, which is why I've always, when I had to wear a mask, you're just like, I felt like maybe I'm trying to stop mosquitoes through a chain link fence. But whatever. I mean, they're still going to catch something, and they're going to do something. I just, I don't know what.
So but really all we're doing, I'm sorry, Doug, to stop you there, but really all we're doing with the vaccine is we're taking away the symptoms of the virus. That's really all we're doing.
Yeah, it seems to be preventing hospitalizations. Seems to be. Yep.
So it's not actually eradicating the virus. It's just putting it in check until a mutation comes that circumvents our current vaccine.
Yeah. It's it's here to stay. It's not going away. It can kind of dissipate. It could dissipate, but once it's in us, man, it's in us.
Yeah. There's no game. Well, look at the chickenpox virus, right?
Right.
The shingles. See, it caused the whole thing that's happening now. That or not now, but it's been happening forever. If you got a chickenpox, there's a good chance you could get shingles. That's just a mutation of the chickenpox virus.
Right. Yeah, in your own body.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just. But wouldn't it be weird if we all woke up one day and 2, 3, 4 people sprouted wings?
I don't know how. I don't know what I'd do at that point, Doug. I just don't know. If I woke up one morning and I saw a few select human beings that somehow had the genome to mutate, had wings and running around. And of course we're joking to some extent because I don't think it would be that drastic of a mutation.
No.
But it doesn't need to be a large mutation to be a mutation.
But, I mean, there have been viruses that probably have caused huge mutations in humans. I mean, for instance, all of a sudden our brains just got huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it happened very quickly.
So is your theory, maybe not to put words in your mouth, but kind of seems like it will be, is your theory that viruses push evolution?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're alien nanoparticles and they're little roadmaps for their own purpose. And yet you're thinking, well, how can something inert, totally inert, until it finds a host,
So
have a purpose? But they seem to. So then that makes you think there was some intelligence in creating them.
now we're talking
You're following
intelligent
my drift.
design.
Exactly. Now you're picking up what I'm throwing.
It doesn't necessarily, I mean, it can be whatever intelligence you want to call it.
Right.
But there is definitely a higher power here. I mean, the engineering of some of these things are not a happy accident that happened just because.
Do you really think that those? Okay, just go back to the pea aphids. So this virus somehow got into them and makes them, and this is the only reason they sprout wings every once in a blue moon.
Yeah, once a generation, basically.
But it helps them.
Yeah, gets them out of that stress situation because, like you'd said, if they're thriving, the virus is thriving.
But wings are complex.
They are complex, and to
wings,
sprout them,
about flight.
and you're talking about sprouting wings, and it sounds like a relatively short amount of time.
God, yeah, they just within a few days they got wings caused by a virus.
That's just insanity. That, I mean, it's just I know what you're talking about because I've
too
heard
perfect.
Yeah.
It's too perfect.
Now, does that mean because you can't kill a virus, the theory right now, the working theory we're talking about right now is it spurs on evolution. Does that mean that when we're born, do we have all the viruses our mother ever picked up?
Yeah,
in
that's
us.
Our mitochondrial DNA.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's DNA. DNA is so confusing. I mean, I study DNA constantly. You know, I have conversations with some really top DNA people. And every time you get off the phone or you get done with a meeting, you're kind of like, okay, I kind of get it.
Do these top DNA people, do they understand it? Do they have an actual grasp
they seem
on DNA?
To. Yeah, well, yeah, they do, but I'm looking for almost greater meaning in it. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. You're looking for
trying to look beyond
proof of intelligent design, proof of the why. Why is it designed this way? The engineer in you stands up and says, "Well, why is it made this way?"
Yeah, it's so weird.
And who was the master engineer to do this?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's so mechanical. It's so mechanical that we can take stranded DNA and through microscopics cut out a section and splice in a new section.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah. Because, correct me if I'm not wrong here, and correct me if I am wrong, some diseases such as cancer are DNA related.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. But they could be virus related too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be a chemical.
So much to think about.
Okay, but here, it could be a multiple step. It could be a chemical that we're exposed to that activates a virus that gives us cancer.
It could be. There has been some thought that the cancer is viral, not.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of theories out there right now, and yours using the bugs. I forget what you called them. The pea aphids. There it is. Pea aphids. What I find amazing about that is it's a spontaneous evolution that only happens for a reason for a short time. Once they go back to happiness and they get back to doing what they do best by sucking up that sweet, sweet sap, I would imagine their wings fall off and they're right back to what they were.
Yep. And the virus goes dormant. Yep.
Very interesting. Well, we got a special show. They're all special. A really good show on tonight, and they're, like I said, they're all good. We have Amy Boo on tonight, rather, co-founder of Project Zoobook and member of the Olympic Project Bigfoot research team. You're going to hang out for that. That's going to be coming up here in about 5 minutes. We'll be having her on to talk about that. I know that the Project Zoobook stuff has really been interesting, and I've heard a lot of chatter about it as well. So it's really gaining some traction here. So we're going to be talking with Amy all about that. Plus, she's also a fellow radio host. She does a podcast out there. So we're going to talk about her show and where you can hear that, and also her thoughts on Bigfoot and research of Bigfoot.
I think of Amy as the Bigfoot ambassador.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a very interesting individual, and I can't wait to talk with her.
She loves to bring people together.
And that's what this field needs.
Yeah.
A good organizer.
Yep.
You know, I mean, almost like community organizer to get people in and get on the same piece of music, to be honest with you, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and it was David Ellis that introduced me to Amy. And he was telling me these stories before I met her, and I'm like, oh my God, someone's really doing all this? I mean, I was shocked when David told me about her. And then I met her. Cool. She was like so nice, and I'm like, I get it.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about Project Zoobook and her work in the Bigfoot research and in the Bigfoot community. And she brings, like, it's almost like imagine the Avengers, but only searching for Bigfoot. I mean, she brings the best scientists together.
Yep.
Too. So, you know, that'll be interesting to see how she managed that, to organize something like that, too. And you're speechless.
I just like doing that to you.
I know you do.
Staring
you know,
on,
dead air is bad air. You don't seem to understand, Doug.
Oh my God. We over at KSTP, we used to sit in the car and just go dead. Just let it go dead.
Kind of like I just did there.
Yeah, exactly. And then just wait. Because it's actually good radio just to leave it dead for 5 minutes.
What? For 5 minutes, a dead radio station?
Then Tommy would, rush into the studio, but he'd use all these sound effects of furniture crashing and the glass breaking, and then he'd get to the microphone and go, it's like we were in the car having a heater.
Old school radio is what that is. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Nah. What's he doing these days?
Okay, confession time. I just finished back to school shopping. Nothing like the last minute, huh? Kohl's to the rescue. I got 25% off a JanSport backpack for my son, $17.99 sew jeans for my daughter, and 50% off Levi's for both kids. Levi's, can you believe it? I even got $10 off because I spent $25 and picked up Kohl's cash. So, yeah, sometimes procrastination pays off. Select styles. 10 off 25 offer in September 6th. Levi's coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Have you got it? The Shields Visa card gives you automatic gift card rewards. You can use the Shields Visa anywhere, and the more you use it, the more gift cards come your way to give you what you're passionate about, like a new golf club, shoes, fishing gear, or whatever makes you happy. Stop into your local Shields store or visit us online to get your own Shields Visa card. Shields Visa. Got it. Tap the banner for more.
Do you know what happened to that old school radio? Remember Joe Souchere?
Oh, God, yes.
Garage Logic? I wonder whatever happened to him. We should get him on the show.
He's doing a podcast.
Yeah, we should get him on the show. Talk to him.
Oh, God, that is a brilliant idea. People would love him.
Yeah, I know Joe. I met him through the radio circles. And I was actually pleasantly surprised to see he's still doing something, doing stuff. So podcasting, I could see him being a very good podcaster.
Well, it's the same show. Nothing's changed. Rookie's still the
same thing. Yeah. It's all there. It's just the market probably just moved on. That's what happens to a lot of great radio shows, is the market just moves on.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are switching to podcasting. And, of course, we are a podcast, but we're also live.
We are. We're live on Iron Range Radio 105.5 FM, blasting out across the Iron Range. So thank you guys for tuning in each and every week the way you do.
I'm doing the silent pause again.
See. You know, I'm gonna pick my spot though. I'll wait till the interview.
You're gonna get revenge.
And I will wait. No, I won't do that. I cannot do that. I cannot do the silent. Anyhow, just to recap one more time, if you haven't made plans for next weekend, that's the weekend after the 4th, come join us in Duluth, Minnesota for the Para-Unity Convention. Get all your tickets at mnparacon.com. You're going to check that out. Doug will be there. I'll be there. I'll be in my own radio booth. I guess you'll be in your own radio booth. I'm going to have to somehow run between both radio booths. No, you're going to be in my radio booth. Oh, I'm going to be in your radio booth.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're going to commandeer
yours
the front
will be
spot.
Vacant.
Oh, my. I'll have a be back in 10 minutes sign.
Yeah, exactly.
We will figure that all out. Do not worry there, gentle listener. We will figure that all out. You're going to get both of us either way. So I'd like to do an impromptu Untold radio show there at the event as well. And maybe conduct some interviews of our own, too, along with the After Hours AM brand. So we got to get out of here, though. We got to go to break. We come back. We're going to have Amy Bew with us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be definitely right back. Right after this, without an awkward silence, I might add.
Hi, Tom Bodette. If you can hear me, then you have an internet connection, which means you can do cool things online, like listen to streaming radio, obviously, or watch a video of a monkey washing a cat. Let your freak flag fly. Or you can book a room at a great price at motel6.com. Isn't the internet wonderful? Everything you want right at your fingertips, and whoa, did not need to see that. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either. I paid more than the minimum each month, and soon enough, it was gone.
So you're just giving up?
Giving up on what?
The life of luxury. Egyptian cotton, caviar Thursdays, designer everything.
What are you talking about?
Our plan. What happened to winning the lottery and mastering the art of the perfect mimosa? Hosting galas, wearing enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacationing in the French Riviera, and then buying it.
I just thought maybe it was time to prepare for my future. You know, set some financial goals, make some smart investments, open a 401k.
Financial goals? Investments? A 401k? You are horrifying right now. Listen, if winning the lottery were easy, everyone would do it.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Northern Tool and Equipment.
So me and the boys head out to tailgate today and find some other fans in our spot.
Well, it happens.
Cheering for the wrong team.
Oh, this is war.
Even worse, they've got this couch set up and everything.
A couch?
Yeah, it's sectional.
All right, first thing, don't ever use the word sectional again.
Done.
Second, I want you to grab a 4,700-pound tow chain with J-hook and grab hammer. Throw that on the back of your truck.
Got it.
Now you're going to Hail Mary the J-hook over the end of that couch. Time to find a better spot for your new friends.
That should do it.
There's no problem a little horsepower can't solve. Northern Tool and Equipment.
Taking a family of 5 to the amusement park can cost a small fortune.
Oh, yeah. So to save some money, we thought, hey, let's bring the amusement park to us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Step right up, young man. Are you ready to ride the wacky waterfall?
That's just the bathtub with the shower head running.
Nope, it's the wacky waterfall.
It's the shower, Dad.
Waterfall.
Wacky.
There's an easier way to save. To get a free rate quote, go to geico.com. Then buy online, over the phone, or at your local Geico office.
Green light. Hey, girl. School zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
And welcome back to Untold Radio AM, everybody. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis. Right along with me, like always, like still there, even though probably want to be silent, is Doug Hajicek.
How you doing, Joel?
You know, you should come in with the same energy I do.
I'm just giving
you should try it.
No. I'm just pranking you tonight. You're just asking for it.
Evidently, I am. Evidently, I am, because you've only been rattling my cage for the last half hour, and that's fine.
I am going to steal your spot.
Oh, you know, you can't steal the best spot. I mean, you know, to be the best, you got to beat the best. I'm just saying, to be the man, you know, like my good friend Ric Flair used to say. First, he'd always go, woo, first. You know Ric Flair.
Yeah.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. No, I'm kidding, of course. But anyhow, getting back to what we came here to do, and that's to do a radio show. We have Amy Boo on tonight. My mistake, my mispronunciation, the first half hour. I do apologize, but Amy Boo is on, co-founder of Project Zoobook and member of the Olympic Project Bigfoot Research Team. Writer, educator, and editor from Ohio, Amy Boo became interested in the search for Bigfoot after seeing something strange in Ohio's Mahoning. Am I right? Mahoning County in 2012. While her main research areas are in Forest County, Pennsylvania, and it's a national forest in those areas, Ohio and Columbiana County, Amy has traveled, though, far and wide. Michigan, New York State, Kentucky, Oregon, Washington State, West Virginia, Texas, Arkansas, and all over Ohio. Whew, just to name a few. She gets around, let me tell you. Amy is not just another pretty face, though. Much of Amy's efforts have been put into her Project Zoobook, a group that she co-founded comprising of primate zookeepers, primatologists, wildlife biologists, marine biologists, every ologist you can think of under the sun that come together to teach us all something. I'm ad-libbing here. Something that we may not have known about Bigfoot, but more importantly, furthering the field and research of Bigfoot for all of us. Without further ado, Amy, thank you for coming on the show, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm going to have lots of energy. Woo!
There you go. Got to do the Ric Flair. Woo!
Yep.
So you live
Amy,
go ahead,
I
Doug.
called you. I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt here, but I called you the Bigfoot ambassador.
That
I'm
was
not
so
too
nice
far
of
off.
you.
Huh?
That was very nice of you to say that.
No pressure, Amy. No pressure.
I never think of myself that way, but I try to be a good ambassador for Bigfoot, for people who don't necessarily believe in all that.
Well, you are the only one.
Okay.
You're the only.
You have.
What about you, Doug? I mean, you know, once you fall into that category just a little bit,
Do I get a T-shirt or a crown?
you get a big thumbs up.
But
from Studio A.
I'm trying to officially make that into the system so other people pick it up, because you deserve that. You really do.
Thank you. That makes me tear up a little bit.
I can't believe he's being nice.
What?
I can't believe you're being nice.
Only mean to you, Joel.
Okay, I was gonna say. I mean, you know. Anyhow, no, but in all seriousness, you do a ton of work, and thank you for all the work that you do. And Doug is right on point with that.
Yeah. So why don't you start out, Amy, and first off, explain what got you into this and how it's kind of evolved into what it is today.
Well, goodness, I knew of Bigfoot my whole life pretty much. Saw Sasquatch Legend of Bigfoot when I think I was 8 years old, and it scared me silly in the theater, and saw In Search Of and things like that. So I knew of Bigfoot, but it wasn't really my thing until I saw something in 2012. And I always say something because it was too far away to be sure what it was. But this something in Ohio, of all places, so I thought that was crazy, looked like what I would think Bigfoot looked like. So after I saw it, I was in a car going over a bridge. I saw it along the shoreline, looking at some birds that were flying around. It moved, so I knew it was alive. It was very wide and tall and all one color. And I was just shocked by what I saw. But it was about a football field away. And so still I can't say for sure. But right after that, like, we were going over the bridge and I'm saying, oh, I think I just saw Bigfoot. And I call my mom and say, hey, Mom, guess what I just saw? And, and I was serious about what it looked like, but I was giggling about it because it's dumb, right? That you think you saw Bigfoot of all things, especially in Ohio. So I'm like, oh, it couldn't be. So it struck me enough that within days, if not that day, I started Googling Bigfoot and Bigfoot in Ohio. And it didn't take me long at all to realize that people are seeing these things. And, before that, I thought if there was any Bigfoot that could be real, it would be out west. And I didn't think it was real. I just thought it was mythology, Native American tales and just moral tales and just nothing. Sure. I really didn't think it was real. So, but like I said, it didn't take me long to realize that there are a lot of people out there that are seeing these things. And more importantly, there are a lot of people in my area that were seeing them, even around the same body of water that I saw it. So very quickly, I was fascinated. I never knew there was a Bigfoot community, and I didn't know there were so many reports. And I just took, about a year before I told anybody in the Bigfoot community about it. I filed a report, and I almost didn't because I thought my sighting was too boring, because it was too far away and I wasn't sure what it was. And I thought, I'm not going to tell these people, oh, it was right in front of me and it was this hairy and, this tall.
And you didn't want to be thought as crazy either. I mean, that's what I get a lot from people that come talk to me anyway. I'm sure, Doug, you get the same thing. Is the first thing they say is, I'm not crazy. I know what I saw, right. That kind of thing. So, I mean, there's kind of that fear of putting it out there. People aren't going to believe you and think that you're a crackpot. You know what I mean? So that fear is starting to go away, though, because it's more open because people like you that are doing work and putting it out there in the public. So, I think you guys have come a long way.
But I've always been kind of a stubborn person. So if I really think, if I know I saw something. So I was never saying I for sure saw Bigfoot. So I wasn't so worried about people thinking me crazy. And now I'm not at all, where I don't care. But yeah, there was a little bit of that at first for sure. But then I told them what I saw, and there were other people, and flash forward, that was in 2012, flash forward 6 years, I saw something else, but it was at night through a FLIR camera. I haven't had a lot of experiences myself, but I've talked to a whole lot of other people who have. And I'll tell you what, when you're in the middle of the forest talking to a 6'3" tall guy who's a hunter, and he's been out there all of his life, and he's shaken to the core by something that he saw, and his dog is upset while he's upset. And that's one of my favorite reports that I took, was this man's dog could feel his emotion. So I don't think you can really fake that so much. But he knew bears, he knew all of these things, and talking to them is what really got me starting to think, this could be true. That and Native American stories and all kinds of other things. But, I didn't start in this with a really super great sighting, but that's what got me interested.
Very cool. Amy, you started doing a very unorthodox thing to find witnesses. Hunters, specifically. Because hunters impress you, as they do. They're people that understand animals. They know what's what. Tell us about what you do. When I first heard this, I thought, you go, Amy. It was insane what you do to find witnesses, because you actively find them. They just don't just come to you. You're active. Go ahead.
Well, I had done a lot of talks in different places before this. Libraries. I talked for the Audubon Society, the Ohio Division of Wildlife did a thing for them. So I've been pretty busy going out there trying to find witnesses. And then I got the opportunity through a friend, Dave Groves, who lives in Pennsylvania. And I live in Ohio, but I do more Bigfoot stuff, if you want to call it that, in Pennsylvania than in Ohio. And he had the opportunity to speak at a hunting and fishing show and wasn't able to do it. So he asked me if I would like to do it. And I'm like, yes, I would like to do that. So that was the first time that was in Monroeville, PA. It's a very big hunting and fishing show. And I remember the first time I was there, it was the night before the show, and I went there by myself, lugged all my stuff with me. I had to set up my booth and everything and my table, and I was crawling around on the floor setting up this or laying down this green cloth that the organizer wanted all the booths to have. So I'm doing that, and I look up and there's 6 guys standing there, and they're khaki and their camo and everything. And I looked up and I'm like, hi. I didn't know what they wanted. Well, when I went into that, I didn't know what kind of a reception I was going to get with this Bigfoot, this lady there with Bigfoot table. I didn't know, if they're going to laugh at me, which again, I didn't super care, but I didn't know if I'd get any response. But this was the night before it started, and there were 6 guys from different booths that wanted to tell me their stories. It was like before it even started, and I never stopped. That whole weekend, people were coming to my table, giving me their reports. My research partner, Tina Sams, and I do these now at different hunting and fishing shows in Ohio and Pennsylvania, and we hope to add more. And the last 2 that we did combined, they were real close together, we got 87 new reports.
Jeez,
so
that's a lot of reports.
And, if you're allowing for some people to be lying or hoaxing, or some people to have misidentification, which I think goes way down with hunters and fishermen, because, I just had a black bear in my camp over the weekend. You can tell it's a black bear,
Yeah.
They're pretty common in Pennsylvania. But even allowing for some of those to not be true, that's an awful lot of new reports and people that never filed them or told anybody else about them. And I think the secret a little bit is, it's usually Tina and I, and we have some friends that will come and help. But I think we're very non-threatening, and we're just saying, hey, we'll listen to your story. We're listening to what you have to say. And I'll tell you, some of these men usually, there's women hunters. Tina's one, she hunts, she fishes. But mostly men will come by, and there was an older gentleman this past time that he told us that the opening of deer season was his Christmas, and he would go there, just be so excited for it every year. And he talked about seeing a Sasquatch on his own farmland, and how he will still go to shows and stuff, but he's never been hunting again. And that's been years and years. And you can, he took us aside. It's not like he wants everybody to hear him. He doesn't want it for show. He just wanted to tell somebody about it, and it's very hard to look at someone like that and say, oh, you're just mistaken or you're lying. It's changed his life, and you can viscerally see that reaction.
I mean, it takes a lot for a lifelong hunter to want to leave the woods. I am a hunter. I've been hunting since I could carry a rifle. And I was going to add that hunters are 2 things. I mean, one thing for sure is they're great trained observers. One's they're avid hunters. ones that know the woods, they know the flora, they know the fauna, they know all the animals in those woods, because they're gonna have a better idea what it is, because they're used to those noises. They're used to hearing those. And I could tell you the big difference between a coyote and a wolf. I could tell you a big difference between other animals that are making noises, and you only get that really by sitting there and becoming part of that environment as well. So when I hear a hunter coming in, especially one that is kind of, really was into hunting, but now has changed their ways because of this experience, it gives me pause. Because, I mean, how scary was that for them at that moment?
Right. And there's been a
to
lot
give
of
that up.
You don't go back.
Yeah. Because it's a culture. I mean, there's generational hunters out there, kids, grandpas. I mean, really, and to have someone just completely give it up that was loved this sport, just to give it up because of one sighting, that says something.
It does. We'll also have a lot of times, like, for example, there was one time where these 3 guys came to our table and they were kind of joking about it and Bigfoot, and they were talking to us a little bit, and then they left, and then 2 of them went around the corner, and the one comes back and he's like, okay, I have to tell you what I saw, but he didn't want his buddies to hear about it. So he, like when you're saying people don't like to be made fun of, that was a good example of that. But he wanted to tell us, he just wanted to tell us in private. So that will happen as well. But it's been very successful, very successful.
But to set up in mainstream, at a mainstream hunting show, that's brilliant. It really is. And I'm just surprised that hunters will come up to your table and give you reports.
I am too. Like, we didn't expect it. I was like, okay, I'll do it. We'll see what happens. It's probably going to be a really long weekend for not much. But these are good reports.
Yeah.
So I have my map with all my pins in it and everything, where people are seeing things. And it's been a really great way to kind of get a good idea of what's going on in that state.
Have you been getting about 90 per show? Has it been about
I'd say, no, I would say average maybe like 30, 40 per show. And then that's for a whole weekend, usually like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we stay there the whole time. It's exhausting. Even though you're just sitting there, you're talking to people the entire time. But the last 2 we did back to back, that gave us a lot more than the average.
But once again, you probably got 1,000 people coming through that show over those 2 days.
At least. The Monroeville is really big.
Okay. And so you end up with this 0.5% of people that are coming forward. Of all of those hunters, then you wonder how many people, and I'll bet you it's still most of them, the hunters that have seen one of these things, go, nope, I'm not talking to her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I want to say how ingenious that is, because I've been to a lot of big hunting shows, the conventions, and big, things like that. I've never seen until now. I've never heard about a Bigfoot table there.
Well,
never seen one.
Like I said, it wasn't my idea. I got the opportunity from a friend. So I wish I could take credit for it, but now
that's so smart though. I mean, to jump on that opportunity, because there you are around people that spend their time in the woods, that know the woods. So I mean, that's the demographic, if you will. That's the most likely, you would think, to have the Bigfoot sightings are the people in the woods.
Yeah.
It's become, I realize, like, I'm newer to this topic than a lot of people, but even from the time I've been in it, it's become easier to talk about it and more accepted. The ODNR for Ohio just did this whole series on Bigfoot, these talks like that people could see on the internet, all about Bigfoot. And a couple years ago, I had a guy who came to one of my library talks, and he ended up being from the Audubon Society. And then he asked me to speak for the Audubon Society, which I thought was really weird, but it was a really great time. Like, they really enjoyed it because we talked about how a lot of our methods are similar. They were talking about looking for the ivory-billed woodpecker, which isn't supposed to be there, and people make fun of them. Oh, it's extinct. It's not there anymore. But, it was similar. So we had a lot of things in common. And then that got me into that. It was the Division of Wildlife had an expo. And I thought, again, I'm going to be like the sideshow, or I'm going to be something fun for the kids, which is fine with me because you never know if you'll get a good report. And that's why, I do these things to get reports and to get scientists involved. That's the only reason I do it. But I'm like, I'll do it anyway. I'll take that time. There's a lot of time and effort if you're really trying hard to get reports, and you guys know that. But I showed up with all my stuff, and I wasn't a sideshow. They had my booth or my table right between like the coyotes and the dragonflies, and there I am with this Bigfoot table, and I was like, wait a minute, are they mistaken? But they gave me like a real table with all the other animals, and they were interested. I had a lot of rangers and different people coming over and talking to me about things and stories they'd had. I did a weekend long event in our local park here, and there were 4 police officers who volunteered to be our security, because we were doing night hikes and stuff, and they all volunteered because they all had a story. So it's like, if you put yourself out there and you put the time in, you might at least get some good stories, reports.
It's amazing how many police have had, maybe not a sighting, but they've had something really weird happen, like a rock, a rock thrown at them at 3 a.m. in the middle of the woods.
It could be something like that, but that's still cool.
Yep.
Right now, the gap between what you should save and what you can save has never felt bigger. The U.S. Bank mobile app can help by finding ways to help you reach your savings goals with personalized insights that fit your real life to make your financial goals feel within reach. Because even our tools are smart enough to put people first. U.S. Bank. We'll get there together. Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
¿Por qué esta Coca-Cola de McDonald's sabe tan bien? ¿Será la máquina? ¿Será el popote o el hielo? O quizás soy yo.
No sé, Diego, pero vámonos, ¿no? El ¿por qué esto sabe tan bien deal? Un refresco de cualquier tamaño por $1, solo en el $1, $2, $3 menu de McDonald's. Precios y participación pueden variar, no se puede combinar con cualquier otra oferta o combo mío. Coca-Cola es una marca registrada de The Coca-Cola Company.
It's pretty amazing. So, you actually have met scientists. This is where you're finding, because I've participated in 2 or 3 Zoobook meetings, and there's quite a different types of biologists, and so you're actually finding some of these people at the sport shows.
I am. I've found them different ways. I found them from doing podcasts, which is why I do these. I have found them at different Bigfoot events, like when I was in Gatlinburg last year speaking. One of our Project Zoobook wildlife biologists from California happened to be there, and he came up to me, and now he's a central part of our group. So yeah, you haven't even met all the scientists yet. There's more that come and go, kind of. Not everybody's on every week.
Right.
But I've met them at shows like this. I met the one at the Audubon Society. Yeah, so it's just, or libraries. It just depends, but you gotta get out there, and you gotta put yourself out there, because I'm not a very public type person. I'm a reading teacher, and I was like, a lot of our scientists can't put themselves out there, so I'll do it. And it's been very, very successful. And we've been glad to have you, Doug.
Why don't we talk a bit about, what Zoobook is, and the fact that these scientists are totally anonymous, so they can join because they're interested either in the subject or they've had an experience. But the whole key to this is that you keep them anonymous.
Right. And the joke going around is, there's a lot of different Facebook groups for Bigfoot and stuff. And a lot of times I'll see out there, it's like, oh, it's Amy Boo's pretend Bigfoot group. And I always laugh at it. I'm like, yeah, it is. You're right. Like, I don't need it to be, it's a balance between putting ourselves out there and talking about it and trying to gather more scientists who are interested, and still kind of being under the radar, so so they can be protected. But how it started was I had been looking on I had been helping with an expedition that was coming up, and I saw on the Facebook page that a young lady had asked some questions about it, and it didn't look like anybody had answered her. So I private messaged her. So I wasn't friends with her on Facebook. I didn't know who she was, but I just said, just making sure your questions were answered. And we started a conversation, and it ended up that she said that she and her coworkers wanted to go on a Bigfoot expedition because they were really interested in Bigfoot. And I thought that was fun. I don't have coworkers that are interested in Bigfoot. So I'm like, yeah, you're welcome to come. Well, ended up they couldn't come, but so she was disappointed, and I told her, well, I'd be happy to take you sometime. I mean, really, it's not rocket science. You're just camping, you're camping and you're looking, you're being observant, trying to find people that maybe are witnesses around that area, looking for prints, whatever. And I had my audio stuff, and I said, I'll take you guys if you want to go. And we struck up a little bit of a, Facebook Messenger friendship where we would chat a little bit. Well, it took a week or two, I can't remember, but I found out, I don't even remember how she said it, but she dropped the bomb on me that she and her coworkers are the primate department of a zoo. So, like even when she first said they worked at a zoo, I was like, oh, still not, that's cool. I love zoos, but it didn't dawn on me what was going on here. So when she said that, and she said they read all these books about Bigfoot, what happened was she had gone to a Bigfoot museum in Georgia, in Cherry Log, Georgia, the Bigfoot museum down there, and she was really fascinated and was looking at stuff. And then she was talking to the main gorilla guy at the zoo, and he was saying, yeah, I'm kind of into Bigfoot, and they started reading all these reports, and they started listening to podcasts. So a lot of we always joke about the gorillas and the chimps are familiar with a lot of podcasters' voices, because while they're going around their, through their routine of the day, they play different Bigfoot podcasts. But they were like, it didn't take me long to realize, like, they were really serious. And they had reached out to different people in Bigfooting, and nobody had gotten back to them. So again, I feel like I got very lucky, the same thing with the hunting and fishing shows. I saw the opportunity and I took it, but I wouldn't have necessarily thought of it, otherwise. So, but we decided, well, they had all these questions, and especially because I am newer, I've read every book I can find out there and every report, and I feel like I have a pretty good depth and width of knowledge of what could be Bigfoot behavior. We're not sure, and the history of it and everything, but I know there are people that know more than I do.
Sure.
So I said, well, why don't we have like a little phone call with Shane Corson and Derek Randles from the Olympic Project, because I figured they would be really interested in what they were doing. And then I knew this person and I knew that person, and before you knew it, we're doing these Zoom calls with a group of researchers that come. We have a core group, but that kind of come and go, and then also scientists. And I'll tell you what, like you read at the beginning, I mean, we have marine biologists, we have wildlife biologists, anthropologists, archaeologists, just primatologists, primate zoologists, just all kinds of very smart people that are starting to work together. We didn't know what we were going to be at first, because we never set out to be a group.
Yeah.
But we thought, well, we're kind of a think tank, and we get together and we'll have like maybe a topic of the day, or somebody has some news and we'll talk about it. And that's still kind of how we work. But we also are now hooking different scientists together. We have one of our marine biologists is working with an anthropologist on a scholarly article. And then we have some taxonomists who are working with an anthropologist on another project. And then we're doing micro studies with different scientists who have hooked up with researchers all over the country. And, this is all, East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, all over.
What is the criteria to join your group?
We got to like you.
Okay.
Real honestly, I'm just teasing, but honestly, the researcher side is a little smaller than the scientist side, just because it gets, we keep adding people. I think the last time, Doug, I think we had like 21 people on there, which is fine because usually like somebody has the floor, but the criteria for the scientists is that they're open-minded. Most of our scientists are not Bigfoot believers, but they're open-minded and they're willing to share their expertise on things. To be, open-minded, interested in Bigfoot. And I will tell you, we've never had somebody who came on there and said, oh, I don't ever want to come back. It's normally, especially the scientists will normally say, like, I had no idea all of this research was being done, or there were all of these witnesses, and they're really intrigued. And, the third thing is just that they will be discreet, because not all of our scientists can say, hey, I'm into Bigfoot. They could be fired from their zoo board. They could be fired from their university. And it's unfortunate that academia and scientific circles can't, at least be open-minded about it. But it just depends on where you work, I think.
I mean, this whole thing could really end up blowing up, getting big. We have hundreds of thousands of scientists and biologists. And it's so cool to think, God, 5 years from now, you could end up with thousands.
It could be. I mean, it's exciting. It's crazy.
Caused by the ambassador herself.
Thank you, Doug.
Yeah, it could be a big deal. I mean, this is what everybody, let's put it this way. I used to have nightly conversations with John Green. If John was alive today and he'd heard about this, he'd be so proud. He would be just nuts.
Oh
this was his dream.
He's going to make me cry.
No, this was really his dream.
Yeah. John Green is one of our heroes, and Dr. Bindernagel. We always say that carrying his torch, of trying to make the subject of Bigfoot less taboo in scientific circles is what we want to do.
This was John's major goal, and we schemed on it constantly, and we lost and lost. Every time we tried to get another scientist involved, they would just back off. But it was this, so it's this safe space that you're creating.
It's guaranteeing, I'm sorry, Doug, it's kind of like guarantee of anonymity.
Right. Yep.
Where they can come and be open and honest and tell their theories and talk about it without the fear of ridicule by their peers. I get that.
Right.
And that's powerful.
It is powerful. And it's just like, this might sound dramatic, but it's my honor to do that for them. I love it. And I'm just the coordinator. I get the people, or I get ideas, and I kind of lead the discussion sometimes, but mostly I put myself on mute and just listen to it happen. And it's really magical, some of the topics that they'll start on, and it's my friend David Wickham and I always say it's like the best Bigfoot conference ever every time we do it.
Sure.
Wish
I could see that. I could see that. And see it. I've investigated everything from Bigfoot to ghosts in my career. I mean, just paranormal investigator all the way through UFOs, you name it. Been doing it all. And that's the thing with academia, with scientists. They'll say, I don't believe in that, I don't believe in that, I don't believe in that. But then when you can turn off the record for a minute, be off record and no fear of being ridiculed, then they come out and say, this is what I really think's going on.
I agree. And I've learned through doing this that a lot of, some of the scientists have said, a lot of it isn't what they're interested in. A lot of it is funding. They're so busy researching other things. Nobody's giving money for them to look into Bigfoot, so they don't.
What's everyone's thoughts on that? Why has Bigfoot not been taken seriously? Why has funding not been given to the study? What's the thoughts behind that?
I honestly, this is just my opinion. I honestly feel that they don't know what what's going on. Like they have not looked into it. You know, like I do know some, Darby Orcutt from North Carolina. He's known in Bigfooting, and he's done like a Bigfoot movie and stuff. So I feel comfortable saying his name.
Sure.
Or documentary. But he is a professor at a university, and so he's trying to get it taken seriously too. He's been on Zoobook several times as well. But I feel like just my gut feeling from everybody we've had come in, because I have found people through Bigfoot conferences, but normally that's not where I find the scientists. I'll call a biology department at a university, or I will go, think of something kind of outside of the box. And they've all been interested, and like I said, they didn't have any idea this was going on. So in my mind, and I think theirs, a lot of academia thinks if you're looking for Bigfoot, you're looking for the Easter Bunny, and they don't, or a unicorn or something, and they don't understand that there's a really big difference. There's physical evidence, there are witness reports, and you don't have that with the Easter Bunny. I think they just don't look into it. That's just my opinion.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's a mystery that it's fueled every moment, every day.
Have you got it? The Shields Visa card gives you automatic gift card rewards. You can use the Shields Visa anywhere, and the more you use it, the more gift cards come your way to give you what you're passionate about, like a new golf club, shoes, fishing gear, or whatever makes you happy. Stop into your local Shields store or visit us online to get your own Shields Visa card. Shields Visa. Got it. Tap the banner for more.
It's not going away.
But do you think, Doug, it's the lack of empirical evidence? Not anecdotal, because there's tons of that, but empirical evidence.
No, I don't. It's just lack of knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, why they're not taking it seriously, why they're not picking up that ball and running with it.
There's plenty for them to do it, but I mean, the tabloids made fun of the topic for years, and certainly the name Bigfoot. If somebody would have out of the chute given it a name,
like the OP calls it the ridge apes, or the wood apes, or whatever, it would have been taken. I agree.
But I agree with you, because I remember when I was a small child, maybe in the early 80s, I was born in 74. I remember seeing in the tabloids, Bat Boy runs for president and Bigfoot says running mate. Things like that. I mean, just things to almost cheapen the idea of this creature out there.
And then you have some characters, I'll put it nicely, in the Bigfoot community, or witnesses that make it sound very unbelievable, or who have been proven hoaxers.
Right.
And so they're like, there's no such thing as Bigfoot because that was a hoax. Well, you look at the Cross River gorillas, you look at the billy apes, you look at the new orangutan from a few years ago in Indonesia. These are large primates that have just finally been accepted by Westerners, but the natives knew they were there all the time, And so I often say that if we would take our natives, our First Nations people and our Native Americans seriously, then maybe, science could look into that. But they just don't, they say, it's just a moral tale, like I said, or a story, but they don't understand that the same moral tales have coyotes and ravens and lizards in them. Sure. These are animals. These are creatures. I mean, what scale? I mean, I believe that there's some type of a primate, whether closer to human or not, I don't know. But they speak about them the same as they do other creatures.
Yeah, it just is.
I don't know why.
Well, the other thing, Joel, is science really depends on funding.
Yes, it does.
And in very mainstream topics, or what a big corporation wants them to do. There's no big corporations that need Bigfoots to be real.
Years ago, there was a lot of funding, believe it or not, into the investigation of ghosts. Right? UCLA had a whole parapsychology department throwing gobs of money at it.
Yeah, but I can tell you that 3/4 of the university fought it too.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, why can't that same thing at least been done in this matter?
Well,
we're working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah, I think she's on the right thing. Some of the things, I'm not going to mention what they were, but some of the plans I heard last week were pretty amazing. You know, it really is. If there was a way to get more people to join Project Zoobook, to get funding for Zoobook, you can basically bypass, because Zoobook could finance a study.
Yes.
A scientific paper. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're working on that. And I mean, I'm a grant writer by trade now. I used to be a teacher.
No, you didn't mention that, Amy.
I am. Perfect. That's what I do. Well, you knew I was an editor and a writer, but right now
you're a grant writer.
So I'm trying to get somebody interested. It all depends on how you word it, and how that is.
That alone could make Project Zoobook very successful if you could have some breakthrough.
We will. I have confidence that we will.
I think so.
It's just been growing so organically. Like I said, we weren't even trying to be a group, and now people are knocking on the door to get in, and scientists are finding us. That's the cool thing, from doing things like you're allowing me very graciously to do here today. You never know who's going to hear about it.
Yeah.
And who might want to join us.
Well, the other thing that's changing with the whole research are citizen scientists like David Ellis, and there's a long list of them that are actually practicing science.
Absolutely.
And it's so cool that they can now work with people with credentials. They can work together, feed each other information.
Yeah, David's our go-to, him and Chris Spencer, for our audios.
Yeah.
Questions when we're on there. And that's why when I started doing this, I like to camp. My grandpa had a hunting cabin in PA, and we would go there all the time. And I love camping, and I let everybody else do everything. I didn't know what I was doing, so I decided I really like this Bigfoot stuff. I want to see what's out there. So my first time camping, I put up my own tent. I was by myself. Put up my own tent. I had a Duraflame log that I could barely light because I hate those lighter things, But I was like, okay, I am ready. Well, it didn't take long to realize that I didn't know what I was doing. So over the years, I've been adding to my arsenal to become more of a citizen scientist, like you were saying. And I decided, okay, first of all, I need to protect myself, especially if I'm going out by myself in the woods. And I started taking bushcraft classes and survival classes and things like that. And then I decided, well, how am I going to know what is a sign of Bigfoot in the forest if I don't know what isn't? So I took classes through Ohio State University to become a Ohio Certified Volunteer Naturalist. And I continue to take those types of classes. It could be trees and soils and weather and mammals and insects. And, I feel like if you're really going to take this seriously, and if I'm going to be talking to all these ologists, every other week, I at least don't want to feel stupid. I want to at least be able to carry on a conversation with them. So it has, I think you're right. And you have Shelley Covington, Montana out there. There's a lot of people that are taking this seriously and doing, their due diligence and learning about things as best as they can. And if you find something, to use the best practices for not contaminating, whether it's hair, whatever it is. And one thing I'm working on right now, I've been researching in an area of the Allegheny National Forest in Pennsylvania for, I think it's been 6 straight years right now. So again, like I was talking about, we have these micro studies where we have a smaller area where we are writing down all the flora and fauna that we find there to know what's really there, so then what's maybe changed. And it's right in an area where there are several Bigfoot reports right smack in that area. So I have my audio recorders. I take my iNaturalist app out there. So anything I see, you can take pictures of it and it uploads. And so the scientific community and people all over the world can now look at what is in that, couple square mile area that I'm researching. And I just think it's important. One of the things I lead with when I'm approaching a new scientist is that I feel strongly that science, even if they want to laugh about Bigfoot, they could harness the power or whatever you want to say of Bigfooters being out in the forest, because you have a lot of people that spend a lot of time out there, and we might never find evidence of Bigfoot. You know, Peter Byrne's been doing this his whole life. He hasn't seen one, but I might never see anything again, but I might find a new plant, or I might find a new animal. You have the Bluff Creek project proving that the Humboldt marten is real, you know, is not extinct. And so I lead with that a lot, saying it's valuable what we do, even if you don't want to believe in Bigfoot.
Very, very true. What do you think could blow this thing wide open, though? Technology? Do you think technology needs to mature to blow this whole thing wide open, and the evidence is there and it's just irrefutable?
I don't know. My gut saying is luck. Really, I mean, you think about the Cross River gorillas. They're, you know, a gorilla that was on the Cross River region of Africa on the border of Cameroon and Nigeria. And one of our primate zoologists was telling me all about them when I didn't know anything about them when we first started. His curator at his old zoo was one of the Westerners that was over there looking for these, because the natives said they were real. And for a very long time, people thought, oh, you know, they're just stories of the wild men in the woods, you know. And the curator had been there, and I might be getting my numbers switched around, but from what I understand, he was there for, I believe, 8 years looking for these gorillas that weren't supposed to exist. And he finally saw them for a total of 8 seconds or 10 seconds. And, you know, there were cameras all over the place. There were people trying to find them, and the natives said they were real. Nobody believed them. And I don't know if it's technology, but finally we saw them. Finally, not many years ago, you know, this century, they got them on a camera trap. And you can watch that, you know, Google Cross River gorillas, first video. You have these gorillas coming out of the woods, and they're staring at the camera, and the silverback, he bluff charges the camera. And we know they're real now, but for a long time we didn't think so. But I think it was just lucky. I don't know. I mean, I guess there could be technology that I can't even imagine that could help.
Sure. I was kind of curious your theory on
the other thing, Joel, I think it'll be probably not necessarily technology in the field. I think it will be like these micro studies that you're doing. It'll be technology in the lab.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Because, I mean, Bigfoot just seems to have this uncanny ability to avoid photographic detection of any kind.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just uncanny, because there's people that swear to God, yeah, I saw it, I took a picture of it, it wasn't there in my picture. Or whatever it might be. But these creatures, for whatever reason, have this ability to evade all attempts to document and record their existence.
Well, you think, I know.
Just let me interrupt. No, I want to interrupt. It's important. Joel, that statement is completely false. Only from a point. We just captured a closed fist of a hand. We just captured a leg, a shoulder.
But did you capture a Bigfoot? No, not a piece, but the whole pie.
We captured a complete hairy hand with fingernails that is not human. It's not a bear. It's of no animal we've ever seen.
But you do know what I mean, though. I'm talking about the whole pie. I'm not discounting any evidence that's out there. I'm discounting the public needs the pie.
It's those statements that you make are dangerous. Those are the statements that the scientists, the kids hear, the people hear, these blanket statements that there's no photo. That's not true. There's lots of photos. There's just not a good one. So the statement would be there's maybe no good photos, but there are some interesting photos of, for instance, back in the 2000s, I photographed with a game trail camera the side of a face. So we can't say, I just worry about the blanket statements that constantly get made by people. My blood pressure goes way through the roof because
Don't do that.
I mean, I don't know how you feel, but there's just so much misinformation out there. It's basically a soup of misinformation. It's gotta.
Okay, just so I can clear the record. Is there today a definitive photo of a full-body Bigfoot that would stand up in court of law?
No, that's what you should have said. But you say there's no photos. We don't know, and we don't even know what's out there. We don't know what's been erased. It's a statement that's too blanketed. There's no clear close-up photos I'm aware of.
Sorry, I was going to cough.
On a game trail camera.
I think about Shane Corson talks about this, and again, I'm probably getting my numbers wrong, but he talks about how in the Olympic National Forest out on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State, there are several. I'm not even going to give the number because I don't remember, but in my head, I'm thinking 50. At least 50 small aircraft that have disappeared into that forest that have not been found. And we're looking for something that's alive. There's probably not that many of them, and they're moving. So to me, it's really not a problem that we're not getting more pictures and things of them. That's really not what I would focus on so much. I would focus more on the nest site, that they're looking into out there, on footprint evidence that, Dr. Meldrum will tell you that without seeing one right in front of his face, he's convinced that they're real,
Yeah, exactly. And just to back up for a minute, my second point to the no photo was going to say it speaks to their intelligence they may possess. Was not to downgrade anyone's attempt to get a photo.
No, but
it was the intelligence that they may possess.
We also have the Patterson-Gimlin film that's just incredible. It hasn't even been studied yet.
But they're extremely smart creatures.
Yes.
I believe that they are very, very, very smart.
Yeah, and that's why I brought up that video of the Cross River gorillas, because they couldn't get any photos of them. And then there's this video, but they're all looking at the camera. They know it's there. So if they know it's there, they can avoid them.
Right.
No.
I think it was Todd Neese who gave the analogy of taking a handful of BBs.
I'm a business-owning, meal prepping 24/7 supermom. But who isn't nowadays? And for me, first day of school success begins at Office Depot Office Max, where everything my kids need to start the year strong is in one place. Like a laptop for my high schooler, backpacks and notebooks for the little ones, and hand sanitizer for all of the above. I can even order things for my business. It's all available in-store and online at OfficeDepot.com and at low prices all season long. Office Depot Office Max. Their business is to keep school going.
This Labor Day, HomeDepot.com is your one-stop shop for all things decor, with up to 30% off furniture, mattresses, home decor, and kitchenware. Online, it's a Labor Day savings event. Out there, it's a whole new way to enjoy your space. Whether it's finishing touches or a total transformation, find everything you need to make your home feel more like home at HomeDepot.com/decor. Free delivery on select items $45 or more, U.S. only, valid through September 15th, 2021.
And throwing them up on a mountain.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
And telling people, okay, go find one of those BBs.
Right. Yeah. That's a good analogy.
Yeah, it was. So what do you think is going to be next in the next level in research? I mean, what do you actually have, like a goal of, like, are you trying to land a certain group of scientists, to add more, just more numbers, scientists that are willing to apply for grants? I mean, what would really make you happy, Amy?
Oh man, lots of things. I don't think it's so much the number of them. I think we're starting to get a really good, well-rounded group where you have people with different expertise, different types of anthropologists, different types, or wild biologists with different focuses. So we really would love to get, we had an entomologist that was interested at one time, And I would like him to be more involved, or to get another entomologist, because you never know, like, what knowing more about insects could bring to the conversation. So I feel like maybe there's we've talked about this before, Doug, like maybe there's just one little puzzle piece that you fit that, and then everything else comes from that. So the reason we like to get more scientists is because you never know what they're going to bring to the table. We have so many aha moments where if we're just talking about a topic and you're like, oh my gosh, this reminds you of this, reminds you of that. And so the more really interested people with specialties that we can get, I think that could happen better. I'm excited about the scholarly articles that are being talked about. We're working on a website right now where people can ask the scientist questions, and then maybe that will get the right person involved. And I keep talking about scientists, but researchers are important too. Because like I said, not all of our scientists are Bigfoot believers. Many of them are not. So they love to hear reports, from people. They love to hear what everyone's doing. So if you're a researcher with some really cool stuff going on, my email is bigfootamy@gmail.com. So AMY is for Amy. Give me a message and we'll try to see what's going on. But oh gosh, that was a loaded question. There's so many things. I never thought it was going to be anything, and now there's the world is open to us. It's opening to us. I would love to get grants for people to get out there and spend longer times in the woods, just fund them. I would do it myself if I could, and just for more micro studies to go on, for people, for us to be able to fund a scientist, because we were talking about they can't get the funding to do what they want to do. Maybe we can fund a scientist to be looking more into something to do with Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. The sky's the limit, really.
Yeah, really, there's no limit to it either, because, it's such an open book of investigation, because every theory is as viable as the next. That's coming out. I mean, test everything. Test the theories and really get out there and do it, because that's the only way we're going to move that ball forward.
And if we can do that. If we can get, I guess the ultimate goal, going back to what Dr. Bindernagel wanted, is to get it to be accepted enough, to find something that would make it accepted enough that we could talk about it openly. So they don't have to be in the Bigfoot closet anymore.
Yep,
they can
the bar.
Get out.
Is it a lot better than it used to be? That's a question to both of you. And if so, what has been the contributing factors to it being more accepted and out there and people being more comfortable?
I think things like, I'm not just trying to kiss Doug's butt, but I think programs like MonsterQuest, Legend Meets Science, those things have made people at least say, this is interesting. And there's really smart people that are looking into this. And even just TV shows that are more for entertainment, at least there's a conversation about it happening. You have conferences, you have people going out to talk different places. So the more, I don't know if it's exactly mainstream, but the more it goes towards that, at least people will talk about it. What do you think, Doug?
Well, I just think that I was shocked when I joined Facebook and saw all the groups. I was like, just amazing. I was like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Because, see, when you're not a member of Facebook, you're banned. You can't look at, all these groups and all the information and the posts. And I was just shocked. And so I kind of did a mental quantum leap, where it was just, I thought, oh my God, really has been no advances other than YouTube to, oh my goodness. And that opened up a whole new world. So I'm glad I joined.
Yeah, me too. Another thing, Joel, that I'd like to see is, there are so many. It reminded me of this when you were talking about Facebook and all the groups. There are so many different groups of Bigfoot researchers, and I would love it if Project Zoobook could be something that would bring people together to share information more, again, in a safe place, and to almost like act as consultants. One of the things we've been talking about are like different, at the nest site, the huckleberry branches and bushes that these nests are made out of. And again, that's public knowledge, so I feel like I can say that. But looking at sightings around the United States and what materials are available and maybe what they could use there and what would they use it for. And, and then you have, that's what we need. If there's a botanist out there, we'd love to talk to you. We don't have a botanist in Project Zoobook. But, a consultant that could give information to people like myself who don't necessarily know what to look for. I'm out there and I'll do the work, but I don't always know what to look for.
Yeah, the educated eye. You know, something they'd pick up on that we would just pass right by. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So Amy, you know Cindy Dosen, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Cindy told me something a while back that was amazing. She said that she's finding a pattern where there's only 5 hair scales on the diameter of a Bigfoot hair compared to 6 or 7 on a human.
Oh, wow.
Same human scaling. That to me is something like, if you want to figure out how to solve this mystery, it could be a microscopic, because you can't fake.
How does an organization boost innovation for employees and cut out complication? Simple. ServiceNow Creator Workflows give businesses the agility to create consumer-like app experiences in a matter of hours instead of months. With low-code development tools and pre-built templates, ServiceNow Creator Workflows make building user-friendly apps simple, so developers, or anyone else, can deliver cross-organizational digital workflows quickly. Whether it's a departmental app or a cross-enterprise process, ServiceNow Creator Workflows put the power of automation into the hands of everyday employees so they can focus on the bigger things. With Creator Workflows from ServiceNow, your previously manual and inefficient processes can become powerful digital workflows, connecting people, apps, and data. And they scale without sprawl. Simply put, it's innovation without complication. Whatever your business is facing, let's workflow it. Learn more at servicenow.com.
Have you got it? The Shields Visa card gives you automatic gift card rewards. You can use the Shields Visa anywhere, and the more you use it, the more gift cards come your way to give you what you're passionate about, like a new golf club, shoes, fishing gear, or whatever makes you happy. Stop into your local Shields store or visit us online to get your own Shields Visa card. Shields Visa. Got it. Tap the banner for more.
No.
Nobody can hoax.
You're right. You're right. It could definitely be something like that in the lab that'll.
But then, but then again, if you had enough powerful people in biology that heard that and go, oh, I can get a grant for that.
Right.
Suddenly, now there's a scientific paper published, and suddenly, the question that Joel asked, which is the one I get asked all the time, and I'm sure Joel thinks about, suddenly becomes inert because now finally there's some evidence that's not photographic.
Yes.
Something we can all, because I'm sure that, you know people that collect hair on a fairly regular basis, as I do. But Cindy's little observation, that tiny one observation, needs to be screamed to the world.
Right. I'm working right now. I'm trying to weasel my way in, although that's not a very nice way to put it. I'm trying to charm my way in to a biology department at a certain university, because I have somebody that's interested, and I'm trying to get them to see this would be a really cool thing for them to study, so I'm working on that. It's just sometimes it takes, a long time to get somebody to bite.
Yeah, and think about what it costs to just have access, Joel, to an electron scanning microscope. Oh my God.
Yeah, all that stuff. I firmly believe that's going to be broken wide open with the genome.
Yeah.
I think it's going to come from the laboratory, not necessarily the Class A photograph that I alluded to earlier, but it's going to be
still won't believe it.
It's going to be that physical evidence that this creature does exist, and this is why we know, because we have its DNA right here.
True. Like no matter how good a picture is, people will say, "Oh, it's doctored."
Yeah.
My dream is to find a Bigfoot that died peacefully in its sleep.
Yeah.
You know.
Unless you can get a photo like Patterson. There was a 2D. I mean, they had footprints and and so if you could get DNA, footprints, film. It'd be a triple whammy.
And that's so important. That is so important. I used to be involved with a group that they would not take reports of sounds or prints or anything like that. It was only Class A or Class B sightings. And I so disagreed with that because you have one person that heard strange audio, and audio is my favorite part of the whole Bigfoot mystery. And you have somebody who found footprints, and you have somebody who saw something, and even somebody who smelled something, and you put all those together and you get a story of an area. And I think it's really, really important for people to say everything they experience, or a rock thrown, like you were saying with some fishermen and stuff. Everything matters.
Mm-hmm. It does, because I mean those experiences, those sightings, if anything else, it's a dot, like you said on the map, a place to look, a place to focus, right? Yep. So you have that area where you can collect that potential DNA to take that back to the lab, or even better yet, maybe find a carcass, of an unfortunate Bigfoot, to bring that back in the lab, which of course that would be the ultimate holy grail. I mean, because then it would be case closed. We found it and here it is. But I think that really it's going to be that genome, and I think it's going to, because like you said, like paranormal investigating, I've seen 1 million ghost photos, and I can explain away almost all of them. You know what I mean? Is this or that, and you're never going to convince a cynic, no matter how good the photo is.
Right.
But they cannot argue science. It is what it is, black and white. So
I thought of another answer when you had asked me about what I want for Project Zoobook. A big thing is I want researchers and scientists to work together. I can't tell you how many times I'll have a scientist that will be like looking at some researcher's research or sighting or whatever, and they're kind of, is that really real? Or if you have a researcher out in the field that is very skeptical about science, it goes both ways, really. They're sometimes distrustful of each other. But our group, I feel like, maybe it's just because it's our group and I think they're awesome, but I feel like our scientists are really open-minded, and I feel like I want people who have hair samples or people who have experiences to feel like they can talk to them and they're not going to be ridiculed, because they won't. That you said criteria to be in the group, you're not going to ridicule people, and none of our scientists do. So I just, I don't like it that, Doug, don't you agree? Like, there's a lot of people in Bigfooting, a lot of researchers that have kind of given up on science because they think they'll never believe them. And I don't think that that's true. I want to show them that that's not true, that they want to hear your stories. They want to see what you're doing and be open-minded to it.
Yeah, no, it's certainly, the group that you're working with is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's wonderful because you guys are able to unify, but I'm kind of an outsider looking in on the Bigfoot community, because I'm just a lowly radio guy, and I do investigating, and I've rubbed elbows with a lot of different investigators. I have a lot of different thoughts and a lot of different feelings on it. But it seems to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, and if I am, gosh, please do correct me, that there seems to be a wide range of theories, but there also seems to be as many wide-ranging egos. And some of them can't coexist long enough to mesh with each other. Am I right in that statement, or am I completely off the base?
You're so right with that. Many years ago, I was about to give up on Bigfooting because of all the egos and all the garbage and drama and everything, which I can't stand. But again, I told you at the beginning of this, I'm stubborn. So I was like, no, I'm really interested in this. I'm not just going to run away. And fortunately or unfortunately, there is a really big Bigfoot community out there, although sometimes I don't really use that word for it. But where there is a lot of good things that you can mine out of there, you know, so you just got to wade through all of that. You know, the egos can take themselves out the door. And you know, you gotta sift through it and find the good nuggets, I guess. But and there's all kinds of different things that people think. You know, I don't claim to know what Bigfoot is. I know what I think it might be. But, you know, if somebody thinks that Bigfoot is an alien or something like that, I'm willing to listen to that because I don't know. And I also feel strongly that sometimes when people are experiencing what seems like something paranormal when it comes to Bigfoot, I feel that it could just be something in science we don't know how it works yet. Or maybe, you know, there is an explanation, but their perception was off a little bit.
I like to call it science that has yet to be discovered.
Yes, exactly.
You know, we just don't understand it. And
never know.
You know, and I don't fault anyone for any of their theories, no matter how outlandish I might feel they might be, but they're just as valid as my own. You know,
I was just reading somewhere, I forget where I was reading this, but like, what about the people that first were saying there was such a thing as bacteria? And I'm sure they were laughed at. You know, there's these invisible things out there that are making us sick, you know? But they didn't know about it yet.
Yeah.
So who knows?
That's a good comparative. Yeah, everything new is scary to people. If this thing can be proven in the next generation to be real, and it's gonna be really interesting because we can learn so much from another hominid that really is just kept completely away from our technology.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
What if they're not behind us? What if they're above us? Maybe they're already way advanced.
Some people think so.
Yeah, they're so advanced they don't need anything.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. That they're looking at us like the Neanderthal.
Yeah. They're extremely advanced. They obviously have a bunch of super abilities. You know, not necessarily paranormal, but just super abilities. Yeah, it's just the mystery is so amazing that I often wonder, Amy, more than ever, why scientists just aren't like really into it just because it's so darn interesting.
Doug, you and I are a lot like that. I mean, I think you and I both think about Bigfoot every single day of our lives a lot, like most of the day.
I was up till 5 a.m. talking to people on Facebook, on Messenger.
Right. There's not a day that has gone by. You know, I always say I'm not even a 100% believer because my personality is I want to see it right there. It's just, but and most days I do think they exist, but I still have this little bit of I want to see it to be sure. But I still, since that day, whatever it was I saw that day, I have never not thought about it. And I put hours into it because I want to, at least I don't have to be the one to discover the smoking gun, but I'd like to do my part to try to, you know, try.
Yeah. Contribute to the discovery.
It's interesting. I'm getting more and more like citizen researchers who want to do science. So I was on the phone last night with a random gentleman who kayaks. He's been doing this every day now. kayaks, many miles, sets up a scientific experiment in the middle of a very desolate area, then he leaves. And I've been giving him some ideas, and he's been acting on his own ideas, but he really latched onto the UV vision thing that we were talking about, that maybe they can see in UV vision, maybe bears can, and we certainly already know caribou can. He goes, because he was a UV scientist.
Bring him on a Zoobook call. Love to talk to him.
He actually he dealt with UV so much that he actually even got into the business of UV light. And I thought, he goes, what are the chances that me and you are sitting there talking at 4 a.m. about UV light? And he had a sighting. He had a sighting up in Manitoba.
Oh, did.
So
that's why he's so passionate then.
Yeah. But it's so cool to meet people, and he's willing, and he's doing science.
Cool.
He's setting up experiments right now. I did mention Zoobook.
I'd love to talk to him. I know we would love. That's right up our alley.
But he's like, if these things can see in UV vision, even just putting up a game trail camera, even if you've descented yourself, they're going to be able to see that fingerprint like a lit light. It's going to actually glow like a light.
When you're looking through your FLIR.
Exactly. One more class of people I think that would be very interesting to hear their theories in your Zoobook would be officials from the Department of Natural Resources.
Oh, yeah.
Who spends more times in the woods than DNR officers?
Yep.
And you had mentioned
I've talked to them, not in Zoobook necessarily, but I've talked to several of them, and a lot of them have stories. It's really crazy. I think you were on there, Doug, when Celia was telling her story. I always make her tell her story to everyone about seeing a mountain lion, but the Fish and Game Commission said it was a golden retriever, and going through all of that kind of thing, back and forth. It's just, I can't even. I just lost my train of thought of what I wanted to say.
Made her mad. She could then relate to how a Bigfoot witness feels,
right?
Because she saw a mountain lion.
Yes.
Her own colleagues said, "No, you saw a golden retriever," and she's like, "No, that was a mountain lion." And
there were 5 wildlife biologists that saw this, and that's what it was. The Fish and Game Commission guy was saying, "No, you didn't," but then finally he admitted, "Okay, you probably did, but we just can't fund it." So that's what got her interested in Bigfoot. And so there have been quite a few people in government offices, government agencies who have said to myself or to other researchers that yes, these things exist, but we don't have the funding. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist person, but that makes sense to me. They don't have any type of funding to take care of them, and they can't find them much anyway, so they just say they're not real. So there are people who work in those things, like you said, Joel, that they say this, they're real, but not doing anything about it.
Yeah, a lot of my I have a lot of friends that work in the DNR in my area, and they'll talk openly with me, and my gosh, everything from destroying teepee structures to destroying habitat that is clearly of a hominid, and they take them down.
Right.
They actually destroy them. When they do log it in their books, they either log it as a beaver dam, a natural obstruction, something, because they have to log the time, they have to log the effort, but they know what they're destroying. And these gentlemen that have talked to me have come into very close contact with Bigfoot.
Yep. I met a gentleman on a shuttle from the airport to the rental car agency out in Oregon, and I was talking to the bus driver. He asked me why I was there, and I said, "Do you really want to know? I'm looking for Bigfoot." And we were talking, and this other guy was sitting there just kind of listening, and he all of a sudden says, he's like, "I'm a expert for the with fish, river fish. He worked for the Division of Wildlife or whatever out there. I can't remember. But he was talking about how on one of the reservations out there, this was in Washington, I'm sorry, I think I said Oregon, that they have found several nests. And I didn't mention the nests that we're working on out in the Olympic project. But he said they found several ground nests. And it was very similar to this placement of the nests that the Olympic project is looking at. It was very similar in structure. And so now we're trying to get him to work together with them, and I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's important to be able to and willing to talk to anybody at any time, because you never know who's listening. You never know who might be interested in this.
Sure.
So he was in the government too. I just did a thing for families at a campground here in Ohio with my friend David, and we put on a little Bigfoot presentation. He did some footprint casts, and it was more for fun for the kids and their parents. But there was an archaeologist in the audience who now wants to get involved. So you just have to, I guess maybe because I'm a blabbermouth and I'm not embarrassed about my, what my passion is. I wear Bigfoot hats and Bigfoot t-shirts a lot, and you don't know if there's going to be somebody, in the OPNR,
Yeah. When I was speaking, the gentleman I was speaking with, and they're pretty high in our state's DNR, and I asked why not just come out with it? And he said economics.
Yeah.
Money. If there's a big hairy man running around the woods, who's going to go deer hunting?
Right. They don't have funding for it.
And OKMB, if it's endangered species, now it becomes an endangered species habitat. Yes. We have to deal with that.
Yes, very much.
It takes away a lot of woodland for recreational uses because now it's endangered species area. Right. And so I never thought about that.
It makes sense. Like, it doesn't seem so much of a conspiracy theory anymore.
It makes sense. I never thought about that angle though. Like, well, what would economics have to do with any of that?
A lot.
Like, my gosh, more than I ever realized.
Right.
Evidently, all the steps they would have to do, and all the steps that would have to be taken to ensure its habitat is unfeathered. People wouldn't, harassment of these creatures, things like that. It would be huge economic impact. But yeah, like, I just want to add that. It was just so strange. Yeah. And this is just 2 days ago this is told to me, and I'm like, geez, that's nuts.
I feel like my brain, I keep talking about all these different things. My brain goes to here, to here, to here. But that's just how I am. It gets exciting. It gets exciting to talk about.
So, Amy, can you relate, because you do a lot of research, field work, and what's your most interesting moment doing research?
Oh, gosh. Well, I often call myself the worst Bigfooter in the world because a lot of things don't happen to me, but I'm also not going to lie about it. I try and I try and I try, and a lot of things don't. But the most interesting, oh boy. Well, I would have to say, I think I had mentioned that in 6 years after my first sighting, I saw something through a FLIR camera that was walking down a power line cut. And there was another person that was witnessing it with me through a FLIR. So that was pretty exciting. Again, no absolute evidence of what it was, but we sent my good friend Kevin, who's 6'9", I believe, down to stand where this thing was, and he looked dwarfed by how big it had been. So that was pretty cool. But the most exciting thing, besides being out to the area of the nest sites out in the Olympic project, that, I've been out there several times, and I just think it's better than Disney World, is what I always say, to be there.
Can you quickly describe those nests?
Well, I myself have not been right on top of the nests. Two of our primate zoologists went out with me, and they went down to the nest site, but I was up further, so I did not get to. Someday I will, but I did not get to see the nests. But I've been in that area several times.
What?
Not very many people have been able to see the nests because they don't want to contaminate them, which I totally understand. So I'm in the Olympic project now, but I at the time I was out there when we were right at the original nest site, I had a really bum knee and I couldn't get down. You have to go kind of straight down these ravines and back up and crawl through things, so I couldn't do it. And I was really bummed, but it was still exciting to be right there.
Well, what are the nests like? Describe them.
The nests are, they look, I've seen pictures of them and I had part of it brought in to where I was. They are obviously manipulated out of huckleberry branches. So it's not like you take a girl's hair and braid it, but they're woven, somewhat together in there. And when Dr. Meldrum went out there, he found these support sticks in these nest structures. They're on the ground. A grown man can lie down in them, curl up and lie down comfortably in them. And you can see pictures on the internet. I know that the Olympic Project had a website, and I think it might be under construction now. But if you Google it, you can see these nests. And they're at the original nest site. I believe they found 21 of them. They are in almost like formations along these ridges, finger ridges, where you have like at the tips of the finger ridges, you'll have like a little formation of the nests. And what was interesting when our primate zoologists were out there, they were noticing how there were almost sight lines from one nest to the other. The point nest was like overlooking a salmon stream, and there was a means of egress there where there were skid marks, for lack of a better term, going down the edge of the embankment down to the stream, so that they could get away. They had to crawl through the bushes to get to this place. So they're very well protected. There's a lot of food there, a lot of berries. There's the salmon. And I know in the point nest, they had found 2 rocks, decent sized rocks that had grooves on them that matched up to each other, like something had been clacking them together. So I know they still have those rocks. Did you have a question?
No. I was going to mention, you're featured in a new film that's about to come out, Flash of Beauty, correct?
Yes.
Amazing trailer. I saw the trailer.
The trailer is awesome.
Yeah.
I was interviewed out at Beachfoot in Oregon last year, and I don't know what it's going to end up like or anything. I was in a different documentary, and you're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. I don't know what direction they're going to take, but I just kind of gave my story and what I'm doing.
Well, they used your soundbite to open the trailer.
Yes, they did. I was shocked. I thought, hey, that's me.
You have to see this, Joel. It's called Flash of Beauty. It's really very different.
Oh, very cool. I have not seen that yet. Where can I see that?
I think they have a Flash of Beauty Facebook page. Yeah. I'm pretty
Cool.
sure. I would Google Flash of Beauty.
Yeah, I'll do that, and when I do find it, I will alert the listeners to where they can watch it too.
Cool. Yeah, so I like that. I like the history of Bigfoot. I'm writing a book right now about Tom Page, who was the financial backer of Peter Byrne and of Roger Patterson after Tom Slick died. So I tracked him down in Ohio before he passed away last year and spent several years with him, and my mom came along most of the times, and we would have chocolate cake and turkey sandwiches, and he would tell me all about their Bigfoot projects that they did and expeditions that they did. And he was a big game hunter, so he wasn't just the money behind it, but he went on a lot of these different trips with them. So it's pretty interesting. So that's another thing I'm doing.
Yeah, a lot of
Man, you
people
are busy.
A lot of people don't
I'm a
really
busy
know.
bee.
I was going to say, Amy, a lot of people don't really know what Peter Byrne did in the field.
Right.
I mean, they saw his public persona. They saw him on TV. He was kind of he was basically the old Bigfoot ambassador.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. He's amazing. I had the honor of meeting him a few times, and he's still kicking. He's doing well.
Yeah,
and he yeah, everybody should read his books for sure. But I loved Tom Page, became a really good friend, and some of the footage that he gave me and some of the stories that he gave me are pretty amazing, especially about Roger.
Yeah, it's really a lot of history there. But yeah, Peter was the original Bigfoot ambassador.
Yes, he was. Still is. Yep.
Yeah.
Man, that is really cool. That is very cool. And now you are the Bigfoot ambassador.
Yes, you got to.
No pressure. No pressure, Amy. Might be some shoes to fill here, but I think you can do it.
I will do my best. I will do my best.
So make sure you guys check out Flash of Beauty. It's a Flash of Beauty Bigfoot Revealed, and you guys can watch it soon. It's releasing this fall of 2021. So we're all looking forward to seeing that as well. And evidently, once it is dropped, it will be dropping on Amazon Prime. So when you get a chance to watch that, definitely do so. Amy, how can people get a hold of you directly? I know you dropped your email once in the interview, but what is that email one more time?
It's Bigfoot Amy. So Bigfoot AMY @gmail.com. So it's pretty easy.
Very, very cool. Amy, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me.
A lot of interesting stuff out there. And again, that's Zoobook, everyone. Look for more information coming out from Amy
our
and
website
Zoobook.
we're working on the website.
And so that'll be coming very shortly. And again, have fun. And we hopefully see all of you guys in Duluth, not this weekend, but the following. Again, mnparacon.com for all those tickets. Again, but we got to get out of here. Until next time, guys, take care of each other, love each other, and be open-minded about Bigfoot. It just might be surprise you what's out there.
Okay, confession time. I just finished back to school shopping. Nothing like the last minute, huh? Kohl's to the rescue. I got 25% off a JanSport backpack for my son, $17.99 So jeans for my daughter, and 50% off Levi's for both kids. Levi's, can you believe it? I even got $10 off because I spent $25 and picked up Kohl's Cash. So, yeah, sometimes procrastination pays off. Select styles. 10 off 25 offer in September 6th. Levi's coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
This Labor Day, HomeDepot.com is your one-stop shop for all things decor, with up to 30% off furniture, mattresses, home decor, and kitchenware. Online, it's a Labor Day savings event. Out there, it's a whole new way to enjoy your space. Whether it's finishing touches or a total transformation, find everything you need to make your home feel more like home at HomeDepot.com/decor. Free delivery on select items $45 or more, U.S. only, valid through September 15, 2021.